Okay, so we're checking out the Flywoo GP10, which is a naked GoPro Hero 10 in their own custom case here. And they also have the GoPro 9 as well. Pricing, I think it's like $399 for the GoPro 9, and the GoPro 10 is like $569, I believe. Check the links in the video description. Prices, of course, change all the time. But here I have it mounted on the Venom H20 here, this little 2-inch prop hexacopter, and they sent me along the mount for the their new GP10. So this has a case with a fan. If you want to buy just the case by itself and strip down your own Hero 10, I think the case and all the parts are $50. So they have their own, obviously their own BC board here that powers the main board of the GoPro. In terms of the voltage specs, check the link in the description. They did send along this balance lead adapter here, and I believe this outputs 5 volts, and that goes into this little plug right here, but I'm using the solder pads here instead on my own plug, and this goes to VBAT, so pretty sure this will go from 2S to 6S in terms of the voltage range, but yeah, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that's what the case is on this one. Yeah, but this is essentially just a Hero 10 black that you can get anywhere, and they stripped it down, they put it into their own case here, and they're selling it as a complete set here. It comes in this box. You get some instructions, stickers, get some additional power cables, and along with this little balance lead power cable, and additional mounts, and of course they give you the screen as well, and this little screen comes in this little 3D printed part, and there's the plug there. So I believe you're going to need that to do the firmware updates, and there's I think it's right there, that's where you're going to plug that in, the screen in, so you can do the firmware updates. It does come with the GoPro Labs firmware from, I believe, June 2022. Could be July 2022. It's like whatever the latest version is right now. That is on here currently, but if a newer version of the Labs firmware comes out in the future, then you'll have to obviously upgrade it if there's any new features that you want. But you know, with the Labs firmware, you have to use the some sort of a QR code app to change your settings, because you're not obviously have a screen. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is what the app is. It's called QR Control. It's actually not made by GoPro. It's a third-party app. But here you can, you know, set your resolution, frame rate, etc., and then it creates this QR code. And the way the Labs firmware works is it's already set to look for the QR codes when it's not doing video recording. Obviously, it doesn't do that when it's actually recording video, but when it's in standby mode, you just bring up your QR code and you point it at the QR code, and then you hear a couple beeps, and it means that it's confirmed that it's taken the code, and it will change the settings to whatever you have changed here. And obviously there's a whole bunch of things you can change here, the modes, Pro Tune settings, etc. If you want to see a video on this and how GoPro settings work on this QR code app, let me know in the video description. Or let me know in your comments, because people have made videos on this already, but they're kind of outdated. This stuff has been around for maybe a year, almost a year and a half now, and they have added new features, but for the most part it's pretty much the same. You can always go in here and figure it out on your own if you're not really sure what it is, but this is how you change your settings for the naked GoPros. So this camera here weighs 46 grams. You get the front screen, of course. These ND filters are not included. It does come with a UV filter that's included, and I pulled that off here because it's the ND16 that's on here right now, and I actually put the UV in here. And then you get, if you buy this ND filter set, which is $50, you get a 4, 8, 16, a 32, a 64, and I think, and then this last one here is a Cpl filter. So basically it's a polarizing filter. Those are good for like reflections, like if you want to look into water, that kind of thing. So it's a nice set here. It's obviously an extra cost. They are just friction fit, so this is pretty similar to the way the Nameless RC case works. You just pop these off, and then there's a little like a rubber gasket here, and they just stick on via friction. It's pretty solid. It doesn't look like it's gonna vibrate off. It's actually fairly hard to get them on and off. So I mean, you can see here I can hold the whole camera in quad just on the filter. It's not going to come off that easily. But yeah, there's an extra cost. Let me just give you a quick look around the whole camera here. I don't really feel like taking it off the quad. There's the door for the SD card. There is no cover here, so in a hard crash it could get ejected. Got your buttons back here for power and recording. So when you plug in the power here, this fan turns on, and it's pretty loud, and you can actually hear it when it's just record audio, and you can actually hear it recording the fan sound. So if you're looking to use this as a regular GoPro, the fan is going to be heard in the audio. So you got your power button, record button there, of course. And you can see here I did my little solder job here for this little plug, my own custom plug instead of using theirs. Yeah, it says, like I said, it weighs 46 grams, which is, it's lighter than the bones and heavier than like a Naked Hero 6, 7, or 8. Those are going to be lighter. But of course, you know, this is the 10. It is going to have a lot more features that you're going to want. Obviously, if you're looking for a GoPro 10, these are the only ones that can give you those like features like the 5.3K 60, 4K 120 modes, etc. Those are the only ones that are available. So this is the bones here. It's about 64 grams versus 46 grams. This one doesn't have a fan, but it has a bigger heatsink, which is why it's heavier. In terms of the difference in cost, this is $569. Obviously, if you crash and break it, there's no warranty, so you have to buy another one for another $569. You can get the bones if you're in the US. I think it's, I forget the latest price, like $399, I believe. And if you crash, if it's $399 if you get the GoPro subscription, and then if you crash and break it, it's $199 to replace. It's $200 to replace it. So, it really kind of depends on how many times you think you'll be crashing these. So, if you crash it once, you got to buy another one, so that's over $1,000, like $1,100 for this guy, and then this one here, if you crash it, it's basically another $200 out of pocket. So it's gonna be $600. So, it kind of depends what you're looking for. In terms of the mounting. You have the M3 hole here in the back on this one. I know there's some cases where you can kind of mounts where you can slide these in. There's nothing like that for this one yet. There probably will be at some point, but keep in mind that if there's a mount that you use, it might cover the fan up, so be aware of that. But you know, it's very similar in terms of like the features. It's also based off the GoPro Hero 10 Black, but it uses a different firmware compared to this one. This is the GoPro Labs firmware for the Hero 10 Black. This is the Bones firmware, which is different. It actually is similar to the one for the Hero 10 Black for the Labs firmware, but it's a little bit different. I believe all the features are the same, but it's not the same, not the exact same firmware. I think the difference is you can upgrade this firmware obviously without a screen because there's no screen, whereas on this one you have to attach a screen and make it think like it's a full GoPro to do the firmware updates in this one. So I think that's a limitation on the GoPro Labs firmware, which they haven't. I'm not sure if they've removed that limitation yet. So another thing to be aware of in terms of the differences, obviously in terms of the image quality, it's the same as a regular GoPro Hero 10. So if you get a GoPro Hero 10 Black and you put the Labs firmware on it, it's going to be exactly the same as this. I have tested the 4K 120 multiple times in terms of like the heat capacity of the heatsink that's on here. So they have their own proprietary aluminum heatsink that they designed for this case, and obviously the fan in combination with the heatsink is supposed to manage the heat buildup from using certain modes. Like the 4K 120 is one that will build up heat pretty quickly, and I have not had any overheating issues yet on this one, so that's good to know. Probably about 50 or 60 recordings at 4K 120, and so far so good. I haven't had any overheating problems when the camera shuts down because this fan, even though it is pretty loud, it does its job, and it's actually doing a good job in keeping the camera cool. So something to be aware of. I think that's the trade-off here between this one and the Bones is you get more weight with a bigger heatsink, but you don't need a fan. Over here, it's less weight, smaller heatsink, but you need the fan to keep it cool. And obviously the form factor is a little bit smaller. This is a bit bulkier. And if you're looking at this here, so kind of really boils down to like what you're looking for. Obviously, the Bones is only available in the U.S. currently. I'm not sure if that's going to change anytime soon. And then for those of you that are outside the US, and this is going to be one of your options. And then of course you can buy your own Hero 10 Black and buy the case for $50 and do your own conversion, or you can pay someone to do the conversion for you. So you go buy a Hero 10 Black for $500 and give it to someone to strip it down. So it's $500 plus $50, and usually it's about $100 to $200 to pay someone to strip it down and do the conversion for you. So you're looking at about like $650 to $750 to go that route typically. And then if you just want to buy it already built like this, it's $570 from Flywoo. So okay, I think I covered most of the bases here. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. Link to this down in the video description. And if you want a 9, that's also going to be, I'll link that as well down in the video description as well, because that's a, I'm not sure how many people will still want the 9 because the 10's out, but it's there if you want it. And of course it's about $170 cheaper. So if you want something cheaper, you don't need all the features of the 10, then the 9 is obviously a good option. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Talk to you later.